I'm going to show you how to move like an athlete again, whether you feel completely washed and broken or you're already performing decently well, but you just want to unlock that next level. The reason most high performing guys stop moving and performing the way that they want, whether it's in the gym, the field, or maybe just day to day, isn't because they're getting older. It's because they've just become disconnected from their body. And when that connection fades, so does control, both at the micro level, so your coordination, timing, joint stability, and at the macro level, like your power, your speed, and your endurance. So naturally, things just stop working the way that they're meant to, the way that your body was designed to work. And eventually they break. And that disconnection compounds over time through three main ways. Number one, ignoring your body's signals becomes a habit. You've trained yourself to override the pain, the tension, the fatigue, and you think of those as distractions instead of data. But those signals are just your body's built in feedback loop. And when you keep pushing through them over and over and over again, it just becomes your default. You don't just ignore the signals at that point, you stop even noticing them. And this habit is what disconnects you from what your body actually needs to stay strong and resilient. Number two is that injuries actually damage the sensory systems that keep you aware in the first place. So every injury, even minor ones, affect the sensory receptors in your joints and your muscles and your fascia. And these are what tell your brain where exactly your body is in space. When those get damaged, your ability to detect your movement and tension through the body just significantly drops. If you never retrain those systems, that awareness doesn't just come back on its own. And you add prolonged inactivity or immobilization, and the input gets even quieter. And so over time, whole areas of your body just go offline. And now, finally, number three is relying on external stimulants and how that actually masks the real energy issue. So you feel drained and you reach for caffeine or some stimulant to push through it, but that low energy isn't just about sleep or recovery. It's really a sign that your body's ability to generate and circulate energy is compromised. One huge reason that I see a ton is your fascia. It's not just some passive tissue in your body, it's an electrical network that runs throughout your entire body. And it essentially helps you conduct these bioelectric signals between your cells, which your body uses to coordinate movement and repair itself and distribute energy efficiently. But when your fascia is sick, it's dehydrated, it's overloaded, that signaling gets blocked and you feel that as fatigue and fogginess and that disconnected feeling. And yeah, sure, caffeine might mask the symptoms by cranking your nervous system up, but it also just dehydrates your fascia and stresses your system even more, which really just deepens the disconnect over time. So instead of tuning in, you numb out, and the more you numb out, the less feedback you get until performance feels like it's slipping, movement feels more grindy and effortful, and recovery just takes forever. So, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the three key steps to rebuild that connection and restore your athleticism so that you can get back to a place where movement just feels powerful and fluid and effortless the way that it should. So, step one is to rebuild your awareness and direct your attention inward. So, before we jump into movement or training, we start right here with awareness because this is the step that almost everybody skips. But it's really the one that changes everything, guys, because when you've been disconnected from your body for years, again, pushing through those signals, ignoring discomfort, parts of you just go completely offline, whether that be certain muscles or joints or entire regions, they just lose connection to awareness. And so you stop feeling them. And if you can't feel them, then how can you expect to use them well? You can't move like an athlete anymore. And so the first step is bringing those areas back online. Again, not through movement, but through focused attention. And this is best done in low stimulus, low intensity environments. Just you, just your body, your awareness, no distractions. And so the goal is really simple. You're just going to direct your attention inwards. So you're going to start with 5 or maybe a 10-minute body scan, and you can do it before a workout to switch gears from the grind of your work and just drop yourself into your body. You can do it after training to just help your nervous system process and integrate everything that you just did. You could even do it before bed to release tension and stress that accumulates throughout your day. Most people, they really don't realize how much physical tension that they carry just simply from going about their normal day. And that mental stress turns into unconscious holding patterns that build up over time. And that is why most people experience aging. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic for another video. But here's how the practice works. So you're going to send your full attention to one specific area of your body. Just be there completely without judgment, without analysis, and just surrender to the experience. Feel the tension, the heat, the emotion, whatever comes up. And when you do this right, something incredible happens, guys. Those sensations just start to ebb and flow, and the negative ones start to fade. Even pain and tightness, I promise you guys, if you focus on them with enough presence and patience, they will begin to dissolve without even moving a muscle. And this is one of the most powerful healing tools we have. It's just simply your pure attention. It's a way to create change in your body without lifting a little finger. So you can think of your attention like a flashlight in a pitch black room. That darkness is everything that you're not feeling, your pain, the tension, the sensations. When you shine light on it, your awareness is sharp and focused enough. It cuts through all of that, and those sensations disappear. At first, your attention is going to feel like a tiny keychain flashlight, but with practice, it's going to turn into one of those industrial floodlights, and eventually nothing goes unnoticed in your body. And this isn't just for those 5 to 10 minute sessions either. The real magic happens when you carry that awareness throughout your entire day, not even just your workouts. When I stay connected, even just keeping a small part of my awareness in my body, I don't get tension. I don't feel tight traps, stiff back. But on the other hand, when I do lose that connection, when I get lost in my head or in my work, whatever I'm doing, it shows up fast. My body just tightens up. My body just feels like it's uncomfortable and like it has all this resistance in it. And so in that way, this practice becomes a way of being, not just something that you do. So start with areas where you feel that pain, that tightness, maybe heaviness, and these are your entry points, because as you explore and soften into them, other areas will naturally reveal themselves. It's kind of like following a trail of breadcrumbs. And so your body will just show you the next layer if you listen close enough. Remember too that signals come in different volumes. Now, of course, you have pain, that's going to be the loudest. You have discomfort is next. Then you have tension. And then there's going to be deeper layers that are a little less obvious, like your heaviness, blockage, or some kind of emotional holding, like, for instance, butterflies in your stomach. If we can learn to detect even the faintest signals as they arise and respond to them, we can prevent injury and move through life with complete ease. The reason we get pain in the first place is because we ignore the signals, and pain is just a final warning when earlier signals just kind of compile into this big mess that can't be ignored. You can do this exercise in any position, whether it's seated, lying down, standing, and you can focus your attention pretty much on anything, whether it be a muscle group, a joint, a limb, your breathing, a sensation. And side note, this is what stretching actually is at its core. It's basically just different positions providing feedback to the body from different angles. And that'll be a whole nother video as well. So stay tuned for that. But, anyways, there's no one way to do this, guys. It really should be guided by your curiosity. Just ask yourself, what happens if I focus here? What do I feel when I soften into this feeling? And that simple curiosity is what rewires your awareness. And just like disconnection becomes a habit, your connection can also become one. So the more that you do this, the faster you heal, the earlier you catch tension, and the more naturally your body is going to stay in flow. This is the foundation. This is the energetic side of the system. The other steps that we cover are going to be more physical, but they only work because of this. Reconnect here and everything else becomes possible. Now, step two is to use therapy to restore your body's natural state. Because once you've started rebuilding internal awareness, the next step is to help your body physically clear out the blockages that have built up over time. And so this is where therapy comes in, because you can think of all the tension and tightness, restriction in your body. Those did not start as physical problems. They started as sensations, very subtle signals. But when those signals, again, they go unnoticed, unresponded to, they begin to solidify and they become dense, they become opaque, and they eventually show up in the form of your adhesions, your restrictions, even structural changes like calcification or bone spurs. So, for instance, let's say you're at your desk grinding away. You feel a little bit of pressure in your chest, or maybe that flutter of anxiety, nothing big, just a moment. But you're so focused on your work and you don't notice it. So that signal goes unprocessed and it turns into a little tension in your traps. And then the next day, you feel a little bit of stiffness in your neck. And a few days later, you can't even lift your arms up overhead without feeling that restriction. Or you sleep wrong and now you can't turn your head to the side. It feels random, but it's not, guys. You just weren't aware of the earlier signals. So your brain is just going to fill in the blanks with whatever BS society has in terms of half baked explanations. The problem didn't start in your sleep, it started when your system was overwhelmed and ignored. And so therapy is just a way to go in and manually process what hasn't been felt, but it only works if you do it with presence. So the key is to hold that intense awareness through the area that's being worked on and through the rest of your body. So, what do you feel? What emotions come up? Even memories sometimes, without getting too deep into it. Do you notice your breath tightening when you hit a certain spot? Does the pain shoot to a completely different part of your body, maybe through a specific line of tissue? All these things are clues. And so therapy just gives you a little bit of stimulus, but it's really your awareness that decodes that signal and actually clears the blockage. So as one area opens up, another might flare up. And that's not a problem, because that's just the body showing you where to go next. And it's all part of the process. So over time, you start to see how the patterns, how different parts of your body and even your life are connected. And the best part of this is that you don't need to spend thousands a year going to a therapist. You can do this yourself. You just need the tools and the mindset. And now, that being said, that doesn't mean that you don't go and work with a therapist. It's just that you don't rely on them and that you don't use them for maintenance, and that you actually use them to build up your body in the right way. But I find that a lot of times people just go the therapy route, go work with somebody, because they don't understand that self therapy goes way beyond just foam rolling. For instance, you can use cupping to decompress compacted tissues. You can use a lacrosse ball or some kind of pressure tool to stimulate trigger points and those sensitive knots in your fascia. Even scraping tools you can do on your own to really help you organize and free up the superficial layers of your fascia. You can use your hands as well, combined with your breath, to just unravel tension from a manual standpoint. It's not about just sticking to one method. It's about really experimenting and finding what works for you. Your body is unique. And so the tools that you need are going to be different from somebody else. And so when we coach people, we guide them towards the most effective techniques based on their specific issues. But either way, this is a process that you can own. And just a reminder, the most important thing, again, guys, is how you engage with it, because mindlessly smashing tissues or chasing pain isn't going to do it. You need to feel what arises, notice what shifts, just let your breath lead the way, and stay deeply present as your body unwinds layer by layer. So, again, therapy isn't about breaking up knots, it's about restoring that natural state of your body so that it can live in fluidity and connection and being able to express yourself athletically. And so when you approach it from that place of awareness, the results stick. They last. You actually are fixing and freeing instead of just maintaining. Now, finally, step three is to use movement to rewire and reintegrate after you've brought your awareness back online and started clearing out those physical blockages with therapy. Here, we're going to rebuild the way that your body actually moves in a very conscious way. This is the bridge to get back to athleticism. Movement is where everything starts coming together, but again, only if you're approaching it with the same mindset from steps one and two. And so this really isn't about mindlessly going through reps or following some cookie cutter program. It's really about using movement as a tool to retrain your nervous system, to reprogram how your body moves and reacts and organizes under real world conditions. Take this, for example. You've probably been told at some point that your glutes aren't firing, right? And so that's why your back hurts, your knees hurt, or your hip is out of alignment, or whatever your physio or PT said. You were then given clamshells or banded walks or maybe a glute bridge or two, but no matter how many of those you did, nothing really changed, or maybe you got a little bit of relief. It's not because you're broken, guys. It's because you were trying to fix a sensory problem with logic. The issue isn't that you don't want to fire your glutes, it's that your nervous system just hasn't felt them in years. You were using your mind to solve a body problem, and that rarely, if ever, works. To rewire a pattern like activating dormant glutes, you need to be deeply present in your body, not thinking about what should be happening, but feeling it, not forcing the contraction and just trying to squeeze your glutes as much as possible, but actually aligning your body, your breath, and your attention into the positions that allow the right structures to wake up again. And that process starts with very simple movements, but done with extreme presence. So, standing on one leg and feeling the foot, hip, and core stabilize together, or even holding a split squat position and just noticing where the load naturally wants to go and where you can guide it. Even basic core holds like your planks, your bear crawl positions, you can fine tune your breathing, your tension, your entire structure in these simple drills. And these drills, when done with the right focus, are some of the most powerful rewiring tools that you have in your arsenal. Because in those moments where you're holding your body in these positions, you're being really intentional, this is where your nervous system is going to relearn how to sequence movement from the inside out. And as you get more fluent, you can start layering in more variables. So, load to challenge stability, and range to test new coordination, and obviously more complexity to really bring everything together in flow and bridge that up into athletics. Each layer gives your body new feedback, and each challenge is going to basically reveal new layers to refine. And so movement becomes the new language you speak with your body. And the more fluent you become, the more natural power and coordination and efficiency in your body that you're going to unlock. And eventually you stop trying to fire muscles and they just fire because you've reconnected the system, not just physically, but neurologically and energetically. And this is how we go from disconnection to integration, from compensation to coordination, from surviving your workouts to expressing real athleticism again. This is where it all clicks, guys. So now at this point, you've been with me for a while through this video. You've got the map. And the truth is, a lot of progress can be made on your own. If you've watched this far, I know you're intelligent. I know you're curious. You're serious about getting back into unlocking your full potential. And I was the same way at some point, and I did figure it out, but it just took me over a decade of trial and error and deep study and a lot of setbacks, quite honestly, to piece it all together. And you can do it too, guys, if you have the time and you want to make this your life's project. But if you're somebody who values your time and you'd rather just shortcut that process and just get results now instead of 4 years from now, then this is where working together makes sense. And I'm going to drop the exact methods that I've used with over 100 clients at this point to help them reconnect to their body, restore their performance, and basically feel more athletic at 40 than they did at 25. You're going to get access to my full library of video demonstrations, weekly live coaching calls with me, and daily feedback and support from both me and my wife, Andrea, who, quite frankly, is the real MVP behind the scenes, helping you stay on track. And with all that support, you can compress what took me years to figure out into just 90 days. And that's real, guys. If you're committed and willing to do the work, that is real. So if you're done waiting, if you're ready to stop feeling like your best years are behind you and you just want to move, perform, and feel like an athlete again, then this is your time, guys. Book a call down below. Let's see if it's a fit. This really isn't a cheap program and it's not supposed to be, but it works. It's an effective program. And we're quite frankly the best in the game at teaching you how to reconnect to your body and rebuild athleticism in a way that actually lasts. So hit the link down below, book your call, and if we're aligned, we'll get to work.